If you just take a second to look at the world around us, just pause and think about the daily grind. The buildings, the numbers scrolling endlessly on our screens. It's quiet, it's routine. But hold on tight, because today we are going to connect three wildly different realities that are absolutely going to change how you view that everyday routine.
All right, let's dive right into this. I want you to imagine, for a second, holding a 3,500-year-old Canaanite lice comb right in the palm of your hands. Weird, right? Now fast forward. Feel that chaotic, sweat-inducing panic of modern stock market FOMO. That sheer fear of missing out on a surging tech stock. And finally, picture the staggering, almost silent contrast of a billionaire's meticulously managed morning routine as they board a private jet. These three things seem literally worlds apart, don't they? But they're actually deeply connected threads in the exact same story. It's the human pursuit of value.
So let's start with part one, the architecture of value. To really understand how we got here, we've got to look at the massive acceleration of human progress. Over 3,500 years ago, the Canaanites invented an alphabet, a literal system of symbols to record words and concepts. And incredibly, we first discovered this carved onto, yep, you guessed it, a simple lice comb. But those little symbols laid the absolute groundwork for recording trade and debts. Fast forward a bit to 2300 BC, and you've got this king named Sargon. He decides that having individual, independent city-states is just way too inefficient. So what does he do? He conquers them. He creates the world's very first empire. And from there, human progress just absolutely explodes. We tear through the Industrial Revolution, using steam power to make manufacturing faster and cheaper, all the way right up to today's massive, hyper-interconnected global financial markets.
And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates the ancient mindset of conquest. Sargon of Akkad famously declared that kings do not rule for the benefit of the people. No, they rule to increase their pride, power, and possessions. That fundamental drive, it never actually went away. It just kind of evolved. Over the millennia, we shifted from conquering physical land with marching armies to building these colossal modern economic empires.
Which brings us to part two, the modern market empire.
Today, the modern equivalent of those historical empires is the stock market. It's this bustling, non-stop ecosystem where ownership is basically sliced up, bought, and sold. And the way these private empires invite the public in is through something called an IPO, or an initial public offering. This is the exact moment, the big reveal, when a private company opens its doors and sells its stock, its ownership to the public for the very first time. It is a massive event. It is literally how modern empires are capitalized. They trade their closed-door privacy and strict control for massive public capital, allowing, literally anyone to buy a tiny piece of the empire. But here's the catch. Once an empire goes public, it is completely subject to the emotional roller coaster of the market. You've probably heard these terms thrown around, right? A bull market, where places rise, optimism is through the roof, and the market is charging forward like a bull with its horns up. Versus a bear market, where prices fall, fear completely takes over, and the bear, swipes down with its claws. As much as we really like to think of finance as this pure math and logic game, market volatility is driven just as much by human FOMO and total panic. So how do we even make sense of all this market chaos? Well, we measure these financial empires using indexes. Take the S&P 500, for example. It basically acts as a massive report card tracking the 500 biggest US companies. So when you hear a news anchor say, the market is down today, they aren't actually talking about every single stock out there. They're usually talking about an index, just like this. It's a quick benchmark for the overall health of the modern empire. Let's break down how we categorize the actual players inside that empire, which is something known as market capitalization. First, you have large cap stocks. These are your stable giants, kind of like the massive, unshakable skyscrapers of the financial world. Then, you've got mid caps, which are your steady, reliable growers. And finally, small caps. These are the tiny, wild rides with incredibly big dreams, but, a whole lot of risk. Smart investors actually survive market volatility through diversification. They balance the skyscraper-like safety of those large caps with the risky potential of the small ones. That way, one bad move doesn't totally ruin the whole shebang. Moving on to part three, the mathematics of survival. All right, stepping away from the abstract charts for a minute, let's look at the visceral, on-the-ground realities at the very base of this architecture. In homelessness, the math is entirely 100% about immediate survival. It is a stark, hour-by-hour reality. You wake before dawn on concrete, usually just because the city is getting loud. Your entire day is exhausted just hunting for the most basic necessities. Think about it, finding a bathroom before a business turns you away, hunting for a random outlet and a sliver of Wi-Fi just to stay connected, all while constantly guarding your few belongings. By the time evening rolls around, the hunt shifts completely to seeking safe shelter. There is absolutely no long-term planning here. It's just survival. Now, just one single step up from that is the relentless puzzle of deep poverty. Here, okay, you might have a roof, but life is still lived strictly day to day. It means constantly checking your prepaid phone service to make sure it hasn't been suddenly cut off. It's stretching SNAP benefits with coupons and literally counting the remaining bus passes in your wallet just to get around. Extra shifts? They aren't for extra spending money. They're absolutely mandatory just to keep the lights on. It is a high-stress reality where you have to sit down and choose which bill to skip this month, and a single check engine light coming on in an old car, that can be a financially devastating event. For the working poor, life is this rigid, incredibly exhausting routine. You wake before dawn, commute in an older car where the gas is planned out to the exact dollar, and you spend your entire shift on your feet, often having to follow strict scripts from a manager. You are constantly pulling out your phone, checking your banking app, just praying a direct deposit cleared. And hey, health insurance might exist, but the deductibles are so incredibly high that you have to actively put off going to the doctor or the dentist just to financially survive the month. Let's shift gears to part 4, the comfort of capital. As we move up into the middle tiers, capital fundamentally shifts the daily human experience. The lower middle class relies heavily on strict budgeting apps to make sure everything aligns at the end of the month. They might, rotate their streaming subscriptions to save a few bucks, and they drive reliable used cars. They have stability, for sure, but it requires really active management. Contrast that with the solid middle class. Their bills? Comfortably on autopay. They usually have 401k matching at a job with a clearly defined professional role, and they drive late model cars that are still under warranty. They have a comfortable margin for surprises. A broken water heater is just an annoyance you call a plumber for, not a full-blown catastrophe. Then, in the upper tiers, people start using their capital to fundamentally buy back their own time. The upper middle class has maxed out their investments in company stock, and they use their money to pay for things like lawn care and monthly cleaners. Why? Just to free up their weekends. And the millionaire tier? They have diverse portfolios managed by CPAs and financial advisors. Their wealth building is almost entirely automated at this point. When they take a 2-week vacation to a beach somewhere, their income doesn't stop. The capital is literally working for them. Which brings us to our final section, part 5, the billionaire contrast. Zooming all the way out to the extreme upper echelon, wealth transforms into something else entirely, absolute control. For the ultra-rich, we're talking about $100 million or more. Their morning routine is meticulously managed by an entire ecosystem of people. Staff arrives before the sun is even up. A dedicated family office basically runs the mechanics of their entire life, handling the taxes, the legal issues, the properties. The individual billionaire doesn't sweat the small details. They focus solely on massive, scale-shifting decisions that move billions of dollars. And travel? Oh, it is strictly private jet, wheels up entirely on their personal schedule. But here is a crucial point. Billionaires aren't just swimming in a giant vault of liquid cash like Scrooge McDuck. Actually, scratch that. It's more like the vast majority of their wealth is tied up directly in the very market empires we were just talking about. Owned companies, public stocks, private deals. They literally own the architecture of the economy. A single decision they make can ripple out and move the public indexes that the rest of the world relies on for their retirement. It's all connected. And this brings us to the ultimate realization of this explainer. While those living in deep poverty have to spend absolutely all of their daily time and energy just surviving the math of the day, the ultra-rich use their infinite financial resources to completely and utterly control their time. In this modern empire we've built, money is just the tool, but time is the ultimate luxury. Which leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question to think about. Where do you fit in the modern engine of empire? Because if you think about it, from the ancient Canaanites scratching the very first alphabet on their own to record the trades, all the way to the digital flash of today's massive stock market indexes, human history has been this relentless drive to build, measure, and capture value. Understanding this grand financial architecture is absolutely the first step to navigating it. I really hope this sparked your curiosity to learn more about the invisible systems that surround us every day.